Hi, it's Christy Marks and Dan.
G'day,
and
everyone.
We're here. We're from Embrace the Crazy, where we talk about our lives, our everyday, our struggles, our ups, our downs, with 4 kids and a dog, and managing all that life throws at us. So today we're going to talk about managing the needs of our individual children, which is a very interesting one. With the 4 kids, it can be a quite a juggle. So we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover differing personalities and needs. We're also going to cover how we manage this and what works well for us. And then we're going to talk about the role of our dog in our family and how she helps. So we'll kick off talking about differing personalities and needs. Now, our children are very, very different. To use the words of an absolute megastar in my eyes, Maggie Dent. We have a rooster and we have 2 lambs in our boys. And Dan's read Maggie Dent as well, so he's probably all across this. The rooster dominates everything, just everything. The whole world revolves around this guy. And am I wrong here?
No, not at all. I think there are parts of each of them that have components of a rooster or a lamb, but you're right. I think we really think about how we can interact and engage with each one of them, and then how they shape the conversation and how to manage that, because I think there's quite a lot of challenge for us in sometimes getting everyone involved and making sure there's nice peace across our family, because it can often become overpowering, and not in a bad way. I think it's such an impressive trait, and I recognise some of the trait in myself as well. So I know it well, and I know what it's like. But I think being aware of it and knowing that that is a factor is so important, because it then helps you really adjust and know when things are happening, working out how to treat it. So not trying to stop it or not trying to flatten it, because that is the worst thing that you can do. It really creates fireworks and fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
But if you are aware of it and you then know that, okay, this is a factor that is part of our life, it's not something you can change. So it's not a power or a force that you need to go against all the time, but how do you embrace it and also use it in the right way?
And I must say, I probably cause some of the fireworks. It's a bit of clashing that happens, particularly with one of our children and myself. And I've become more aware of that, and I try to take a breath before I engage when things are getting a little heated. And Dan's helped me a lot with that, being able to, his patience and his, ability to manage that. I've learned a lot from you, Dan, on how to manage that.
But we're still working on it, aren't
we? We are. It's every day we're learning something different, and that's what this is all about, right?
And I like the fire. Like, I think that's an exciting part of our family, and I think credit to the rooster in our family, because that creates energy, it creates excitement, it creates a level of confidence for all. Because if you don't have confidence, if you aren't the person that's strong enough to step forward and say something, believe in something, well, it ain't going to happen, because there's going to be someone that's going to overpower you. So I think that to me is such a big benefit of big families and having lots of kids, is you really got to make your place, and not everyone can do that, and that's okay too. And it's our job to help try and encourage that and try and build that. And not only that, it also is about working with the rooster to say, you've got to listen sometimes. You've got to hear things. And, so that's something that we're always working on as well, is not always to just stop it, but to provide them the tools, because it's not just in our family that occurs. That'll be something that will occur at school and social environments, at sport and things like that, and we see it.
Yeah.
So we've got to try and provide the right strategies so that they can be used in real life when we're not around to support.
But it's also about harnessing those the fire or the, the gentleness or the kindness or whatever personality trait they have. It's about harnessing that in the right direction, and using competitiveness in a positive manner, using that fire in a positive way, in a way that is safe for everyone, and that works out for everybody. I think that's an important part of what we're teaching our children.
I think competitiveness is such an interesting word when you talk about families, because that's the word that is most commonly used, commonly seen. I think particularly when you talk about the fights and the challenges, it's usually some form of competition that has created that. And
in our family,
remember your uncle saying quite a long while ago, when our rooster was just starting to interact with people, and I said, I'm so worried about, he's so competitive, he really wants to win no matter what. And I remember him saying, that's awesome, that's so good, that's exactly what you want to see in someone who's playing sport, or someone who's really giving it their all, is that they put everything into it. And it really it's always stuck with me, because I know I'm like that too. And I think playing tag a few months ago really gave us that view again, and I kind of forgot about it, but I forgot how competitive I was and I am, and I think it's an incredible trait. So I think you got to harness it, and you really got to encourage it and cultivate it and support it, but at the same time you've got to make the others in your family understand how it works and what it's about, and try and create a way that everyone can be competitive in their own ways.
And I think, talking about the competitiveness in the sport, we've got, I think we're very aware of different interests in our family. So not everybody is fully 100% into sport. Not everybody wants to sit down and play chess. Not everybody wants to, sit down and play computer games all day. So I think it's important to be aware of those interests and aware of how those interests engage with those personalities, and taking the time each day to ensure everybody gets what they need.
And as a parent, I find that so hard.
It's so hard. Oh, my goodness.
I think that's one of the hardest things, because let's take a great example of me. I love sport. I love it. And so I could spend all day at the footy and be very happy and very excited. But I know that one or two of our kids will feel the same, and then the others won't.
Yeah.
And not only that, I'll then also know that they'll want to do things where, for me, I've got to really say, Daniel, you've got to do this. This is something that they want to do, and it really means something to them. And although it might not be my most favorite thing, I know that they really love it. And, I think computer games is such a great example. I don't like them that much.
Yeah.
I don't find them that much enjoyment, but all of our kids love them.
Yeah.
And some kids love them incredibly, and it's very important that they spend time together doing that.
Yeah.
And so you really got to work on that and be mindful of it. And I try and think about that. And, when I look at my weekends, I think, all right, I've got to try and make sure that we're doing things for everyone.
Yeah.
And some of those things might be long or short, but you're really just trying to give a bit of focus on each one of those, so that you do those. And it's, not ordering always what you love the most, really trying to change that up as much as possible. And it's a real challenge, I think, as a parent to be able to do that.
Definitely. And especially if what they are interested in is totally opposite to what you like. Like, you can tolerate video games, but so NRL in our house, rugby league, rugby union, anything with a ball, like they would watch a ball bounce down a stairwell and think it was the best thing that they've ever done. And okay, I like footy. I grew up watching my brothers play footy, but I don't love it with every inch of my being like the other members of our family. But I've had to come on board with that. Even when I met you, Dan, you were really into, the West Tigers, so I had to kind of get on board, and I went along to a lot of footy games, and I understand the game, but our kids are next level. They know every single player. They know all their stats. They know who's going to be, we have all these competitions. We're in a footy tipping competition, just in our family. And even over the final series, we had this little system where we, who was the best team, who was going to win. And so I've just had to jump on board And I might not overly enjoy it, but to sit down and watch the footy with the kids or go to a game, just seeing the joy in their faces and putting my needs aside, putting what I like aside is important.
Yeah.
And similarly for the kids as well, to sometimes do things that they don't like or they don't get a lot of enjoyment out of. I think that builds a lot of character.
And we work on that a lot, don't we? I
We
think
do.
there's lots of times where someone in the family won't want to come to something, but we really encourage everyone to be part of it. And I think you challenge me all the time on having our dog there, and I know I'm skipping ahead, so we'll come back to it, but I like having our dog with us. She's part of our family. I like our family being together, and I'm really, I think that's a real important part of our values and our family, is that we like to do things together. And so part of the challenge for us is always trying to find things that everyone likes to do or gets something out of. But sometimes that's just not possible, and sometimes that's part of being part of families. And I just look at it like work. Sometimes we do things at work that we don't like to, but it's contributing towards your team and contributing towards the overall outcome that you're trying to achieve. And we're trying to achieve an important outcome in our family. We want to be together, we want to spend time with each other, and we want to be happy. And so we've got to work at that, and everyone's got to contribute towards that.
Definitely. So managing different personalities and needs in our family, as we've spoken about, can be a little hard. So how we manage this, we've touched on a little bit. Getting them doing things works really well. We've got a job, let's do it. We do it together because we love being a family. I say that with a joke because there's times where everyone's dragging their feet and it's only you and I who want to do something. But physical activity is a really big part of our lives, and particularly for one of our children, the rooster that we were talking about before, getting him outside, running around, doing something with a footy, on the trampoline, with a basketball, on a bike, whatever it is, that's how we manage. That's how we manage most of our kids. Go outside and play. Go outside and play. Go outside and play. Go over to somebody's house, ride your bike, do something. I think that really helps with managing everybody's personalities. But also in saying that, our second child really likes quiet time. Really likes to play by himself. He loves playing. He doesn't. He could play for hours just by himself in his room, in the playroom. He goes outside and plays ball games by himself, which and he absolutely loves spending time by himself, which we try and nurture, and we try and give him that space. And I often say to the other kids, leave him alone. He needs to go and just have some space and have some time by himself.
Yeah, I think we worked this out very early, that getting the activity occurring early in the day is very important. Now, we start our household very early, so everyone's up and everyone's out and about. And so the faster you can get an activity happening, and sometimes not everyone's involved in that. Funny what I just said before, but what Christy was just talking about is so true, is that I know that some of them aren't interested in that. They actually want to have a slow morning because they're not going to school today, and they actually want to relax, whereas the others need to. So it's about getting that mode or that model right. But I know that in the morning we need to go and do something. And so we'll go to the skate park early, we'll go for a ride, we'll walk the dog, whatever it needs to be, but it needs to be something to get the endorphins going and some type of moderation or peace that occurs when that happens. And I'm similar. I'm the same. I know that I'm not good until I've been active in the morning. I've gone to the gym, I've done a run, walk, or whatever I need to do. After that, I feel at peace with the world. And I think some of our kids are the exact same. And so we really try and do that. And when it's raining or when it's really cold, it doesn't have to be something that's always outside, but it needs to be something that has engagement and interaction where they're really involved in it and they really care about it. And then I find after that, if you can do that for an hour or so, which is, focused support, and it's not just about sending them away. I think that's the part I wanted to call out. You actually got to be part of it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They really, really are want you to be part of it. And as they get older, I'm sure that'll change more. But you got to be involved in it.
Yeah.
You've got to be part of it because they see that as I'm getting focused on.
Yeah.
And that's really important for a rooster. It's not just let's just go and make them busy and do something. You got to be part of it and be involved in that process.
Yeah. That's true for all kids and for everybody in our family, particularly. Even this morning, our third child said, "Oh, hey, Mum, do you want to play handball?" I'm like, hell yeah. So we started up a game of handball just here in the foyer, and it was just me and him. And then, as the rest of them started to get ready and were ready for the day and ready to go to school, they started playing with us as well. And then I could leave and finish getting ready and finish doing my jobs, knowing that they were happy playing and doing something that they wanted to do. And I actually just want to touch on, hey, Mum, can we play this? Mum, can you come and do this with me? Trying to fit that into your day, even if it's just a little bit, or Mum, can you read a book to me? Mum, can you, Dad, do you want to do this? Mum, do you want to do that? Being able to give them each part of your time each day, even if it's only for a couple of minutes, even if it's only for one book, even if it's only for one game, I find that really, it fills their cup. So, we're talking about managing the needs of our individual children, and we've spoken a lot about our own self-care, but it's also about giving back to the children as well, because if we've got a full cup, they also need to have a full cup, and doing these things that they want to do each day. And it mightn't happen straight away. Like if I'm in the middle of doing something, I always give them a parameter. Give me 5 minutes. I've just got to finish this. You set up the game and let's go and play. Or if, I'm outside and and I'm getting the washing off the line and the footy comes my way or the soccer ball comes my way, I get involved and I kick the ball because, sometimes I think they do it on purpose to get me involved. So I think that's actually a really important part of having a family as well, is giving your time to your children each day and doing something that they want to do.
Yeah, and a great example of how to do that, because I can get caught really quickly with work, doing things outside, or just getting things sorted that need to happen on a weekend that you can't do on the weekdays. So I always try and ask them right at the start of the weekend, hey, is there anything you want to do? Let's write a little bit of a list of things that you want to try and do. And we might not hit all of them, but it's a way that we can start right at the start of the weekend to say, okay, I know that they want to go for a ride, or I know that they want to go to the skate park, or whatever it may be. And so it's already something that I'm thinking about how I'm going to fit that in. I've got to get that in. That's something that they want to do. And it's not like ticking off, oh God, thank God I've done that and I've spent time with them. But it really just forces you to start thinking about how can I make these things happen, versus being the person that says, which I often can be, is, yeah, we'll do that, yeah, we'll do that, yeah, we'll do that. And at the end of the weekend, we might have done 2 out of 10 and they still feel disappointed. So I think, yeah, think about that. And that also then allows you to then work out, all right, they've given me 10 things that we want to do. We're only going to be able to do 5. Which ones do you care about most that we think we can achieve for the weekend?
Yeah. And you're really good at that. You're really good at writing lists and getting your kids' input.
And it gets them excited though.
Yeah.
Like that's why I like doing it. It gets me excited too, because I think, oh, awesome, we've got all these great things to do. But it gets them thinking a little bit about, all right, what can we do? What do I really want to do? And it's not something that we go, all right, the list is closed, you can't finish it. It can be impromptu as well. So we keep building on it, but it just gives them a bit of a view of, what's coming up and what's on. And for our rooster, that's actually really important, because the end knows, okay, I know I've got this happening, I've got this happening, we're going to do this. And that allows him to go, okay, I can kind of relax. I know where I'm going to be able to have fun and do these things, which gives a good output for him, so that he feels better and can get along with everyone more.
Yeah. I feel like we're focusing on the rooster a little bit too much.
No, not at all. I think it's all of them.
But it is. And maybe it's that rooster personality rather than the rooster the person. I think, it's important for them to have a bit of structure to know what's happening. And even our little girl, she's last child, sometimes she, doesn't get forgotten, but, because we have very loud personalities in our family, she's a bit quiet, but she can stand up for herself, and she, she'll get in there and, put her hand up and scream and yell and shout if need be. But also for her, because she's only 6, she has very different needs to the boys. And in terms of, she loves coming along for anything, doesn't she? She'll put her hand up. I want to do that. I want to do that. She'll come along to the footy for hours all day. But then, we engage with her. We, giving her, getting her to help us with jobs. She loves doing that. Or actively engaging in her imaginative play games. She loves that. We've all been students in her classroom, which she absolutely loves doing as well. But I also want to touch on how we ensure everybody in our family gets their voice heard, because as we were talking about having those dominant personalities, it can be hard for those members of our family who don't have that loud voice or that, dominant personality to get their voice heard. So, and I'm particularly aware of it. And I always, because particularly at a dinner table, voices are going over the top of each other. But it's important that we listen to everybody's needs. And they mightn't be talking, but and maybe I'm just more aware of it. I don't know, I'm just aware of it. I don't know whether you are, Dan. But sometimes them not saying anything is them having a voice. So you just need to be a little bit aware of that, particularly with our 3rd child. Sometimes he's a bit quiet, and we need to be really aware of what his needs are and how his voice looks in our family.
Yeah, I think the Lambs have a very different style of communication, and it's not in your face. It's not big and open and in front of everyone. And so you've got to get really good at working out, okay, what's the best way to communicate with them? How am I going to get the best out of them? And for some of our Lambs, that means that you need to one-on-one with them. You need to be able to get them into a corner and say, hey, I could see you're upset there. What's wrong? Let's talk about it a little bit. And oftentimes I'll say nothing, but that's okay. You're starting to create a channel for them to be able to then open up. And I'll often use that as a start, and then I'll start playing with them and, muck around a little bit. And oftentimes it'll then get back to where we were before, which helps with that process. So I think I'm acutely aware of it. I think in a big family, it's sometimes really difficult to always apply it. And so you've really got to be aware of it and then check yourself to make sure that you're supporting that so that they're getting what they need, which is different to others. And it's easy to have a loud voice and talk up and think that you've said something because everyone's heard it, but there's some people who don't like to engage that way.
And now that we've just spoken about that, let's move on to how Ruby fits into our family, how the role of our dog. And she's really aware of emotions, isn't she?
Very much so.
If someone's crying, she always runs across. She always, or if someone's yelling, she always tries to find where they are. Last night was a perfect example. We had a bit of an episode, and several kids were very upset, and Ruby went straight to them. One of them was hiding behind the couch. She found them straight away, and she just sat there. She wagged her tail. She wanted to play because, they were raging a bit. And she calms them down, doesn't she, Dan?
The power of a pet or an animal is beyond what you'd ever think about. Yeah. So, we talk about responsibility. We talk about understanding how to interact with animals, and we talk about all those benefits. But the ability to emotionally connect is so powerful, and that they really see her as a friend and a family member. Yeah. They really, really do. And what we do as well, and I talked about that at the start, but I think it's at another level for the kids, and all of them are like that. And some of them love animals more than others, but they all really, really connect with her. And I think when there's those high emotional stakes that we have day to day, Ruby is a fantastic buffer and really supports that. Now we encouraged that with her, didn't we? Like, I know that when the kids were crying, we would say, hey, come over, Ruby. Yeah, and we would do that a lot. And I know that it really calmed them down and helped them a lot. And me too, I should say. I think it's not just about the kids. I think Ruby is someone that actually helps calm me as well when you're in those high intensity moments. Sometimes you think, all right, let's actually bring Ruby in to just calm them down or let them focus on something else. And that's really what it allows it to do. You get all this worked up energy and anger and pain. You don't know how to use it, and kids just outburst. And when they've got a pet or an animal, they're able to share some of that, and it allows them to calm down coolly. And I see it week to week.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's incredible.
Definitely. But even, you know, in terms of our physical activity, you know, getting the kids out doing things together. Ruby comes on walks with us. You know, she loves going for a walk. Dan takes her for a walk every day. And I think sometimes that's less about Ruby and more about you taking Ruby for a walk. And, you know, or if somebody's having a moment, we can say, okay, we're going to go and take the dog for a walk, just to calm everyone down, or take the dog to the oval, or give them all a run around together. And having someone to chase and to play with always really helps. And I didn't realize the significance of having a pet in terms of emotional needs until we got Ruby. And even this morning I walked to school with the kids, and they all hugged her. I love you, Ruby. They all hugged her. I love you, Ruby. Gave her a kiss on the head, and then walked into school. So, you know, she is part of the family. She's more than a friend. She's definitely a family member. And you know, I can see us lying on the couch fully asleep over there. So
but I think this applies to a cat, a bird, insect, or even a stuffed animal. Like I've seen it apply in all. So I think it's just about getting that right tool that allows that. But, you know, I think for us, huge recommendation of getting an animal that's the right fit for your family, if that's possible, because it really does create a emotional connection. It really creates a bit of a buffer, I find, in really challenging situations. And it's also just so joyful.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what a great discussion. Yeah. I think so. Talking about managing our needs of our individual children, we've talked about the different personalities and their needs, the roosters and the lambs, and how to juggle those and manage those. We've talked about how we've made it work and how sometimes it doesn't work. And then we've talked about the role of everyone in our family, including our dog as our seventh member of our family,
our fifth child.
Yeah, exactly. Well, great discussion. Thanks for all your feedback and all the input that you keep providing. Thanks for following and listening in. We really appreciate it, and lots more to come. So we look forward to talking to you more.
Yep.
Have a great day, everyone.
Right. See you, everyone.
See ya.